Welcome to the Purple Elephant Show. I am your host, KC Phoenix. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad I made it. Whew. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This episode, I don't even feel like doing it. There's so many other things going on outside of this episode right now that I'm not even in the mood, to be honest, because as you have seen in the title, you already know what the title is. It's obvious. Just to give you a little bit of background here, it's a little bit darker right now because, as you know, Los Angeles is experiencing a heat wave. So, to do my part on helping with the electricity, usually I have lighting happening in the background. Not a lot of lighting, but a little bit of lighting. And I decided, since I have the air conditioning running, which you may or may not hear it, I decided to not plug in the lighting. I actually took a lot of things out of the plugs. The only things that are plugged in right now are like the microwave and the TV and the PS4 or whatever. But all the other random little stuff I usually have plugged in, they're not even plugged in right now. So as for the lighting, it's a little bit darker. And because I don't edit this show, everything is raw, unfiltered, uncut. This is how it will pretty much look. For those who are listening, this doesn't even apply to you. If you're listening to the podcast, it doesn't matter. But yeah, and then the other reason I'm so over this episode before I even started is because I'm ready to get to the second episode that's a really big deal. Which, by the way, if you follow me on Parler or Facebook or whatever, I mentioned at the beginning of the week that something big would happen, bigger than the White House shooter. And I don't care what anyone says. The incident that just happened, that's going to be in the next episode, is a large, huge incident. Not huge, in the words of our president, huge. So, yeah, I'll discuss that in the next episode. But let's go ahead and get this episode over and done with. I'll throw my opinion as I usually do, and then we'll take it from there. Time to get some of the housekeeping stuff out of the way. ThePurpleElephantShow.com is for the main podcasting platform. Also, there is a link now available in the details section that gives you the ability to listen to the podcast on Apple, because for some reason people listen to podcasts on Apple. Lots of people listen to Apple. So that link is in the details section if you're watching this on YouTube or Daily Motion. Speaking of YouTube and Daily Motion, if you're watching this, please click the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. That way you know when I upload a new episode. Also, you can follow on Facebook, facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show. You can follow on Parler so we can parlay, ThePurpleElephantShow.com. You can follow on Instagram, ThePurpleElephantShow.com. You can follow on Twitter @RealTPES. I want to thank people for listening to the podcast because, as I said, I pay attention to the analytics, metrics, whatever you want to call it, and I noticed that there was a huge jump. I don't know what caused that huge jump with some of the episodes, but yeah, I'll take it. Thank you to those who are listening, and I will thank you again afterwards too, because you listening and you watching means more to me than you'll ever know, because I know your time is precious. Time is something that we can never get back. So anytime you give me something that's so precious to you, I always and I sincerely appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That way we can continue to get it growing and get more people listening and more people watching and all that other good stuff. And now, let's dive into this episode. Okay, this is my thing with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden did not pick her. That's number one. He did not pick her. This pick shows that his mind is not all the way there. And she can say it was a debate all day long. It would be different if she would have said something like, you know, Joe, I don't agree with that deal that you did with China. It was just in bad taste. Or you know what, Joe, you made the wrong call on the on whether to take out bin Laden or not. Because as you know, President Obama had consulted Joe Biden, or Vice President Biden at that time, about Osama bin Laden if he should go ahead and attempt to take bin Laden out based off of the information that they had. And Joe Biden had advised against it. President Obama decided to go ahead and do it anyway. And then, well, the rest is history on that. If she would have went after him on little things like that, even though I guess she wouldn't necessarily call China and Osama bin Laden little things, but these are minor details. If she would have went after him on things like that during the debate, that is different from going after somebody and pretty much calling them a racist and a predator. Pretty much call them a racist and a predator, in more words or less. It's like, based off of what she said, you can read between the lines. That is, these two sections are like night and day as to what's appropriate and what's not appropriate during an actual debate. And then to turn around and say, oh yeah, I'll be Joe Biden's vice presidential running mate. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense, but it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, but in the common sense scheme of things, it doesn't make sense. In the grand scheme of things, she is a very well, I don't want to say liberal, because liberal and left are two different things. She's very left-leaning in her beliefs, even though she doesn't know who she is. When it comes to her interactions with people, she is whoever they want her to be at the moment. I call her Hillary Clinton light. And I say Hillary Clinton light because even though she's been in politics, Kamala Harris has been in politics, she hasn't been fully immersed in all the corruption that is available to her, and that she would be more than happy to take advantage of should the opportunity arise, because she is an opportunist. So she is Hillary Clinton light. Now, when she was selected, Joe Biden did not call her up and select her. If you noticed, when Joe Biden was calling her, and at first I thought that somebody was making it up at first, when I had seen the picture showing, oh, Joe Biden had to read a script to call her to ask her to be running mate. And I'm like, oh, that has to be fake. No, it wasn't fake. He needed a script to call her, to ask her to be his running mate on Zoom, Skype, whatever video chat they were on. There is so much wrong there that it can't even be unpacked right now. So we'll just push it to the side and keep on going. I honestly believe that a deal was brokered with her and another party, not Joe Biden, but whoever is the puppeteer. Whoever is the puppeteer, I believe the puppeteer is like, hey, we want to put you on Joe's ticket. You fall more in line with our beliefs. Don't worry about Joe. We have that handled. We just need for you to accept the VP nomination. If he should win the election, then we'll take care of the rest. And that's what I believe is going on here. I there is no amount of evidence or information or anything you can ever give me to make me believe that Joe Biden sat down and went through folders and files and all this other stuff and had discussions, with people, a little bit of banter back and forth about possible candidates from the debate and everything else, and people who were not running for the Democratic presidential nomination and the things surrounding it. I do not believe those type of conversations happened with Joe Biden. I don't believe his mind was up to the task to evaluate all of the people they were talking about, whether it was Susan Rice, whether it was Stacey Abrams, whether it was Kamala Harris, whether it was, I believe there was, I think Elizabeth Warren was possibly considered. I mean, she is a woman of color because she's Native American. Wink, wink. So, yeah. And I believe there were one or two others. Michelle Obama was floated. I don't believe that information was discussed with Joe. I don't believe Joe even sat down and discussed it with his wife, Jill. Again, I believe the puppeteer said to Joe and Jill, we've looked over everyone's files. We've weighed the pros and the cons. This is who Joe's vice presidential running mate will be. That's what I believe happened. There isn't anything you can tell me to make me think differently. Because for that type of woman to be selected, not just because of her attacks on Joe Biden during the debate, insinuating and pretty much calling him a racist and a predator, but also because she was the first one to drop out, or maybe the second one, give or take. She was one of the first three to drop out for sure when it came to the Democratic nomination. For sure, one of the first three. Because people were not feeling her. They see how fake she is. They see that she doesn't know who she is because she doesn't stand on anything. If you ask her a question about something, she will just say what she believes you want to hear instead of saying what she believes. There's a difference in saying what you believe someone wants to hear and saying what you believe. And she's not a person who says what she truly believes. The only thing that she believes in is opportunity. And in order to grab that opportunity, she will say and do anything that is required to do it. And that is the other reason I believe the puppeteer selected her, because out of the other candidates that were quote unquote being reviewed by Joe, but wink wink, we know that wasn't the case. Susan Rice, you can't really control somebody like her. Stacey Abrams, she still thinks she's the governor of Georgia. So Michelle Obama, you can take hell nah, multiply it by 14 and add steroids to it when it comes to Michelle Obama. There is no controlling Michelle Obama, period. So they were like, who can we pick that will do anything we tell them to do, that doesn't have any moral compass, that doesn't have any beliefs, that is more susceptible to corruption? And then they went through the list and they're like, oh, Kamala Harris. She's the one. That's the one we can control. Let's call her. We're going to call her up and we'll let Joe know who we picked, because his mind isn't all the way there. And this pick goes to show it. And that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Again, thank you for listening. Like I said, there was a huge jump in a lot of episodes. And I noticed other countries pop up from time to time in metrics. Shout out to Israel and Greece, of all places, and the UK and Australia, and of course the United States, USA. And there were some other countries that popped up that listened to this podcast. I really appreciate it. There is a special announcement happening on a podcast only episode. So keep that in mind. Make sure you listen to the podcast at thepurpleelephantshow.com, or you'll have the link for the Apple, or we're also on Spotify and Google Podcast and other podcasting outlets. The Purple Elephant Show, Parler, The Purple Elephant Show, Instagram, Facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show. Just swing by the page, do a like, and that way you can follow. Subscribe, please, to YouTube or Daily Motion, and then hit the subscribe bell if you're subscribing on YouTube. That way you know when an episode is uploaded. And again, for the lighting, yeah, I'm doing this to keep the electricity low, and yeah, I'm cool for now. It was really hot yesterday for some reason, but then again, I think because I was boiling chicken, I think I'm one of the few people in America who boils chicken before I cook it. That's another story for another show. Anyways, thank you again for watching and listening. I appreciate it. Be blessed.